Good day everyone, it's Tim AU here, coming at you with another Nuzlocke run. This time it's a poison-only run of Pokemon Heartgold. This is a direct follow-up to my flying-only Nuzlocke that I highly recommend checking out. So, what is this Nuzlocke? This Nuzlocke shares the standard rules of all Nuzlockes. Pokemon that faint are considered unalived and must be deposited in the PC system or released. I can only catch the first Pokemon in an area, one for each route, cave, city, etc. You get the idea. So those are the standard Nuzlocke rules, but in addition to those, I can only catch poison-type Pokemon, or Pokemon that eventually develop into a poison type. I cannot get the same species, unless that previous copy's already fainted. Encounters do not count if I have a living version of that Pokemon. That means I can go back to previous routes and pick up encounters again as needed. The max level of my Pokemon's limited to the level of the next gym leader's or champion's strongest Pokemon, their ace. A whiteout is a full game over, even if I have Pokemon in the bank, and Pokemon must be nicknamed, just to make me a little bit sadder when they die. Spoilers, this run was not perfect. So, we started the game as normal. I got our Chikorita as a starter, which was randomly determined, which is actually one of the worst case scenarios because it gives our rival a fire type throughout the game, and most of the early game poison types are coupled with grass or bug. So, bad luck there. I also snitched on a criminal, but because I'm a mature adult, I named him Small Wee Wee. And then continued until we were able to get some Pokeballs for our first encounter. In the dark cave, we came across our first encounter as Zubat, which we named Hyphoons. Welcome to the team, Hyphoons. You will be the backbone of this party. We trained up Hyphoons a bit before we headed to Route 31 to catch our next encounter, a Bellsprout named Tabardicus. Because we started the game during the day, it was almost nighttime, we spent some time leveling up our new team members before night finally ticked over, and we could get another early game encounter, a Spinnerack, that we named affectionately Dingus. Welcome to the team, my little Dingus. We could now go to Violet City and Sprout Tower for our last encounter before the first gym. Here, we would catch a Ghastly and name it Jolteon. Yeah, that definitely won't be confusing later at all. After some training, and after taking care of all the other trainers in Sprout Tower, it was time to destroy Elder Lee. Elder Lee's Bellsprout was very easily taken out by Dingus, and we switched in Hyphoon to take out the Hoot-Hoot. Hoot-Hoot was being annoying because he kept putting everyone to sleep, and an untimely crit ended Hyphoon's life. Rest in peace, Hyphoon. Tabardicus the Bellsprout was thirsty for revenge, and took out the Hoot-Hoot with a mix of sleep powder and wraps. Dingus finished off Elder Lee's last Bellsprout, and with that, Elder Lee was defeated. Now, lucky for us, Zubats are everywhere, so we can easily get a replacement. So, yeah, not that bad. After taking out Elder Lee and following some more training, it was time to take on Falkner. Falkner's actually pretty difficult for us, as his team is all normal and flying types, and my team's mostly weak to flying. So we opted for a curse strategy with Jolteon. With the Pidgey out of the way, and Jolteon back at full health, we cursed again on the Pidgeotto, and switched in our Bellsprout. Tabardicus had a crucial task, to make sure the Pidgeotto stayed asleep, and to slowly rule down his health where we could. Tabardicus fulfilled this job well, even with the Pidgeotto using Roost a lot. With that, we had our first gym badge. Go team. Mostly you, Jolteon, but team effort. We then headed down to Route 32 to get an Old Rod, so we could catch a Tentacool that we named Hades. In Union Cave, we picked up a replacement Zubat named Galetz, and in the Helix Forest, we picked up an Oddish named Cam. While doing some regular training in Helix Forest, we came across a shiny Oddish. Let's go! So, bye-bye Cam. Kez is replacing you, and staying in the PC system, where I can't lose you, where it'll be nice and safe. Now we have to deal with some Team Rocket scum that was cutting off the tails of Slowpoke. So, Proton? Proton. Huh. Interesting name. Mother mustn't love you much. Turns out Poison only is actually pretty good at taking out Team Rocket members because they don't really have anything to deal with us. With Proton taken care of, it was time to fight the gym. Bugsy. Oh, that Scyther scares me. But I had a plan. A plan that in retrospect was very flawed. I'd send out Hades to do some toxic spikes so that when Scyther U-turned back in, it would get hit by them. Stop! No! Never mind, back to the original plan. Jolteon and cursing. If it worked on the first gym, why wouldn't it work now? With the Scyther taken care of, the rest of Bugsy's teams could be taken out with a couple of nightshades. With Bugsy defeated, that was our second gym badge. Now, on to Goldenrod City, where we'd have to fight Whitney, a notoriously hard Nuzlocke gym leader. So before that, let's head out to Route 35 and get ourselves another encounter. A level 12 female Nidoran that'll be named Delight. We taught Delight Headbutt from the Helix Forest, which will enable Pokemon encounters from trees, which will come in handy a bit later. Now it was time for Whitney. But I had a little plan. A little plan I like to call spending money on performance-enhancing pills. Let's go, X-Defense!
Key, I like it, castle.
Children, don't do this at home. So, the plan is to stack X-Defense and use Jolteon, can you guess, to curse Whitney's Pokemon and then heal up. You know the saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it? It's worked for all the other gyms, why not now? But there are two potential problems with this plan. One, Whitney's Clefairy knows Metronome, which can beat any Pokemon move, including something that could OHKO Jolteon. Number two, Whitney's terrifying ace, her Miltank, has the Scrappy ability, which lets it hit ghost types with normal moves, hence the defense stacking. With the Clefairy taken down without any issues, Jolteon confused the Miltank, which surprisingly outsped. Apparently Whitney knew my strategy was coming because she gave a Lumberry to the Miltank, which negated the first confusion, so we had to confuse it again, then put it to sleep, and finally curse it. With the Miltank nearly defeated, I healed up Jolteon just to be safe. And then it crit with a stomp, negating all of our X-Defense setup. Something I'd forgotten about was, on the crit, it ignores all the defense boosts that you've got. With Jolteon's last breath, the curse was completed, and my disdain for Whitney was solidified. Ghastly's only available in one other location, and not for a long time. With the third badge in hand, I desperately needed some more team members, so to the National Park to participate in the bug catching contest. There are two possible encounters from here that I want, a Weedle/Kakuna or a Venonat. And we were lucky to get the Kakuna, as it cannot be obtained anywhere else in Heartgold. Wow, never thought I'd say I'm lucky to get a Kakuna. We named the Kakuna Twisted. On Route 36 we came across a Nidoran male. This is the only place you can get one in the game, aside from the previous route which I'd already gotten a Pokemon from. And I forgot it's a new encounter, so I ran away.
Why are you running?
To add insult to injury, Route 36 has a Psychic type trainer with a Kadabra, which crushed my Dingus, and almost killed Galetz as well. After bashing Delight's head against a lot of trees, we came across a replacement Spinarak that we named Dankus. With our new team members appropriately leveled, and some members evolved, we made our way to Ekritique City and the 4th gym, but not before beating Small Wee Wee and catching a coughing named Lolf. While working our way through Ekritique's gym trainers, Galetz evolved into a Crobat. This was excellent timing. It was time to go for our 4th badge and take on Morty. I'd like to say Morty was challenging, but realistically, he wasn't. Galetz, with his bite, is an absolute powerhouse, and it one-shot the Ghastly, then one-shot the next Haunter, and then his big threat, the Gengar, was pretty easy as well. So realistically, easy fight. Good work, Galetz. Great timing on the evolution. With badge 4 in our possession, we proceeded to Overline City, where we got our replacement Tentacool that we named Flinger. Our next badge is here, but the gym leader's gone and locked herself upstairs in a lighthouse to look after her sick Ampharos. Very logical, make it harder to get the proper medical attention that you need. And sure enough, she asked the ever-reliable man-child that I am to go and collect this medicine for her from Cianwood City. Upon arriving in this new town, we did what any responsible hero on a mission to save a Pokemon would. We completely ignored that and proceeded to the gym. And in this gym, there is a trainer that is terrifying. Black Belt Lao. And he has a Hitmonchan with the 3 elemental punches, even though a wild one wouldn't learn these until a higher level. This single Pokemon has the potential to sweep my entire team, especially after landing a freeze on Delight. Twisted's taken out by a Fire Punch, so I switched into Bardicus, which is then taken out by an Ice Punch. Turns out Galetz could have taken it out with a Wing Attack this whole bloody time, and avoided this mess. But alas, That is not how the cookie crumbled. With our team in tatters, we retrieved our shiny oddish Keza and our coughing Lolf from the PC. We also took the medicine back to the lighthouse for the Ampharos and started training to be prepared to take on Chuck for our 5th badge. Chuck led with the Primate and we led with the Galettes. Galettes hit with a wing attack, which took it just under half health while it tried to set up some double team BS. And luckily another wing attack took it out before it could get this any further. I hate double team. I switched in Keza to put the Poliwrath to sleep and start trying to whittle it down with Mega Drains. Unfortunately, it woke up and used Hypnosis on Keza. I switched in Galettes to take it out with a wing attack, but it just survived. And I knew Galettes wouldn't be able to take another hit, so I was forced to switch it out for Delight. Delight managed to get a strength off before I inevitably had to switch it out for Flinger. Flinger's very good at tanking Poliwrath because nothing it had would really do that much damage, and I took this opportunity to heal up the team a bit. I switched Galettes back in to try and finish it off with a wing attack. Let's go. 5th badge is ours. After the gym, I headed out to Route 48 for some light-spirited training, and came across a certain double battle consisting of an Electabuzz and a Magmar. I couldn't risk Keza, so I pulled it out. And then sucker punched the Magmar with Dankus. Dankus, he didn't make it. I sent Lolf out, but I was taken out by some Thunderbolts, and Magmar Flamethrower Delight. Uh-oh. I sent out Flinger, and switched Delight for Keza. I had a plan. Flinger would surf, hitting everyone, but doing very little damage to Keza, but it would faint the Magmar and hurt the Electabuzz. After taking some hits, Flinger took care of the Electabuzz with a Water Pulse. Thank God that fight was over, but our team was in shambles. This run would be forever changed. All trainer fights were now going to be scrutinised beforehand. This will not be allowed to happen again, god damn it. Following this, Mum sent us a Moonstone, so we evolved Delight. We also got a Leaf Stone from Route 34 to evolve Keza. Things were starting to look up with these powerhouses on our team. We went and played some Voltorb Flip, lost ourselves to gambling for a little while to try and get another Pokemon, Ekans, that we named S. We also picked up a replacement Spinarak named Dankist. After some more training, we were now ready to take on Jasmine for our 6th badge. Delight made quick work of the first Magnemite with a double kick crit, and Flinger took out the Steelix with 2 Surfs. Delight then took out the last Magnemite with a couple of double kicks. Badge 6 was ours, also fairly easily. With badge 6 in hand, we headed up to the Lake of Rage to collect the choice specs, which would come in handy later, and get rid of an especially angry Gyarados. Apparently the Gyarados was only angry due to some signal coming from Mahogany Town, and Lance enlisted us to assist him with investigating Team Rocket's hideout. Not much happened here. We made quick work of the 2 Rocket executives, Petrel and Ariana, and turned off the signal. With the Team Rocket dealt with, it was time to take on Price for our 7th badge. I wish I could say Price was difficult, but realistically, Flinger soloed his entire team, being resistant to most of their moves, so yeah, badge 7 done. Unfortunately, Team Rocket wasn't done, and they decided to take over the radio tower to send their Pokemon enraging signal over a much larger area. It was here where our true threat lay, waiting in disguise. Executive Petrel has a team of 5 Coughings and 1 Wheezing, all of which know self-destruct or explosion. We leveled Flinger to level 36 so it was strong enough to OHKO the Coughings with the choice specs boosted Surf. When the Wheezing came out, we switched to S for the Intimidate, and then switched back to Flinger to take it out, along with the rest of Petrel's team. With this self-destruct hell out of the way, it was all smooth sailing. No, the crit self-destruct! We'd been so careful this whole time! I got complacent, damn it!
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're...
We took out our Rage and Ariana, easily defeating her whole team, and continued this momentum onto Archer. Delight outsped and OHKO'd the Houndour with a dig. Dankus took down the Coughing with some Shadow Sneaks and Nightshades. And his ace, the Houndoom, was taken out with Flinger using a Specs boosted Surf. With that, Team Rocket was defeated forever, and nothing bad would ever happen again in the world of Pokemon. Ha 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 ha! We were now ready to head to the 8th gym. After a quick detour to Bell Tower to pick up another Ghastly, we named the Ghastly Chipette. We also picked up a replacement Weeping Bell, just in case. In the Ice Path, we made sure to pick up the TM for Avalanche and teach it to Delight for this upcoming Dragon Gym. We were now ready to take on Claire. We taught Chipette Thunderbolt for a 4 times damage hit on the Gyarados to Oko it. We then switched in Flinger to Choice Specs Ice Beam her 2 Dragonairs. Unfortunately, one of them landed a Thunder Wave on us, which was kind of annoying. With her Dragonairs taken care of, all that was left was her ace, a Kingdra. Kingdras in this generation are very scary because its only weakness is the Dragon type, and I don't have access to that. Ice Beam would hit for neutral damage though, so that's the plan. Kingdra also has an ability that makes critical hits do 3 times damage. Exactly like that crit. And that one. Two soldiers down by this one Kingdra. I sent out Goulettes to confuse it, but the next turn it snapped out of confusion. Luckily, a fly took it out. With that, the 8th badge was ours. Claire was defeated, and after jumping through some BS trial, we had the 8th badge, but at the cost of Flinger. And our shiny Vileplume Keza! We picked up a replacement tentacle named Jolt, and collected the Master Ball from Professor Elm. We had 1 trial left before the Elite Four, and that was defeating the Kimono Girls and capturing Ho-Oh. The Kimono Girls is a brutal back-to-back fight against all 5 of the first evolutions. Umbreon was taken out easily by Goulettes for the Poison Fang and Fly, but the true threat is the Espeon. Espeon's a Psychic-type Pokemon, which is super effective against every Pokemon in my team. A super effective bite left it on just under half health before it smashed Goulettes into oblivion. Okay, we are prepared for this though. We have a Haunter. Haunter's a Ghost-type Pokemon, so it's super effective against Espeon. It outspeeds? No! No. At this point, I'm in trouble. Espeon outspeeds my entire team. After checking, turns out Jolt's just faster than Chipette, and just quick enough to take the Espeon out. Whew. Crisis averted. Right? Yes. From here, the other Kimono Girls folded pretty easily. The only problem is, we can never get another Haunter. We picked up a replacement Zubat named Ultra, and a Venonat named Hypnotic. Because Golbat evolves into Crobat though, through happiness, we have to manually train it. With our team somewhat back on track, it is time to battle this legendary beast Ho-Oh. Oh, well that was easy. To the box with you, to never be looked at again! With Ho-Oh restricted to a series of 1s and 0s, it's time to get through Victory Road. Victory Road's kind of lackluster in this game, as there's only 1 train battle at the very end against your rival. I was going to talk about this fight, but there's really not much point. It was kind of a cakewalk. My Pokemon basically O-Co'd every one of his, or took very little damage in return. Following the fight, Ultra evolved into a Crobat, and clearly, I knew how to handle that small wee-wee. Wait, that didn't come out right. With my rival taken care of, we made it to the Elite Four, and after some more leveling, collecting some much-needed TMs, relearning some old moves, and buying a lifetime supply of healing items, we were ready. First up is the Psychic member Will, which just so happens to be the one I'm most worried about excluding the champion. After that Espeon incident, Psychic Pokemon kinda have me on edge. I opened up with Jolt to try and O-Code the Xadu with a Choice Specs boosted Ice Beam, but it just survived and confused. I switched in Ultra, knowing that Will would heal, and then confused the Xadu. I switched Jolt back in, but it caught the Psychic. I switched Ultra in that was holding the upper berry so it would take a full Psychic hit, and then hit the Xadu with a Fly, not quite taking it out. The Xadu hit back with another Psychic, leaving Ultra on just 1 hit point. Just 1. I took the Xadu out with another Fly. That was close. With Will sending Jinx out, I sent out Delight for an Earthquake Oko. Will countered with a Slowbro, so we countered with Hypnotic, landing a Sleep Powder. With the Slowbro asleep and vulnerable, we took it out with a couple of Signal Beams. Will was now going to send in his Ace, a higher level Xadu. I decided to keep Hypnotic in to try and put it to sleep with Sleep Powder. But the Xadu hit with a Confuse Ray, and Hypnotic hurt itself in confusion. I went for another Sleep Powder because I had a Piappa Berry on Hypnotic, but it missed. I was forced to switch out. With my team a bit beaten up, I switched in Dankus with the King's Rock. Dankus got taken down to half health with Aerial Ace. I sucker punched hoping for the flinch, and did just over half damage for the Citrus Berry before a Psychic took Dankus out. I switched in Delight to use the Choice Scarf Ice Beam to outspeed and KO from this new reduced health. I switched Delight for Hypnotic, as Will sent out his Exeggutor. Exeggutor is a Psychic Grass type, so it takes 4 times damage from Bug type moves like Signal Beam. With that, Will was taken care of, with only 1 casualty. After healing up the remaining team members, it was time to take on Koga. Annoyingly, we were missing Dankest, which is new Psychic for this encounter. We led with Hypnotic, and 2 Psybeams were enough to take out the Arados. With the Crobat coming out, I switched in Jolt, and after an initial miss, took it out with a critical hit Ice Beam after I tried a double team setup. With a Venomoth coming out, we countered with our own Crobat, Ultra. We outsped, and took it out in 1 hit with Fly. With Fortress coming out, which I know has massive defense, I switched in Jolt to hit it with a Choice Spec boosted Surf. This is risky as it knows Explosion, but it luckily used Swift instead and was taken out with a second Surf. With Koga sending in Muck, I switched in Delight for an Earthquake. This Earthquake ended up taking it down to about 1/3 health before its Citrus Berry, and after it used Minimize. A second Earthquake managed to hit and take it out though. Koga's defeated, no casualties. Let's go! Next up is Bruno. After healing up the team and shuffling some items around, we were ready to go, leading with Hypnotic again. Who knew this late edition would prove so useful? Bruno led with Hitmontop that used Counter, failing to do any damage, and was taken out with a second Psybeam. With Onyx coming in, I switched in Jolt to OHKO it with Surf. Oh, another Hitmonchan. That's a big threat with its elemental punches. I opted to switch in Ultra to hit it with a Fly, which was luckily an OHKO. Next up was Bruno's Ace, the bulky Machamp at level 46. Machamp used the move Rock Slide, but I'd put a Chardy Bear on Ultra to reduce this damage. I had forgotten though that it hits while in the air. The Machamp survived and took Ultra down with a full damage Rock Slide.
No! God!
I sent out Delight to hit the Machamp with a Stab Earthquake, figuring Bruno would heal, but he didn't. The Machamp was taken out. All that was left was a frail Hitmonlee, which was put on 1/4 health with an Earthquake. It did hit the Swagger though. I wasn't willing to risk the confusion, so I switched out for Jolt and opted to take it out with Surf. With that, we were down to just 1 E4 member left. Once again, we healed up the team, switched some items around, and challenged Karen, the Dark-type E4 member, that opened with an Umbreon. Bug-type moves are super effective against Dark types, and it was taken out with 2 Signal Beams. Good work, Hypnotic. Karen switched to Murkrow, which is perfect as this allowed us to counter with Choice Spec boosted Ice Beam on Jolt. It survived hitting Jolt with a Pluck, and then was taken out with a couple more Ice Beams, burning a heal from Karen. Perfect. Karen sent out her Houndoom next, and because Jolt was locked to Ice Beam, I switched in Delight to Choice Scarf Outspeed with EQ for another OHKO. We switched Delight for Hypnotic to face her Vileplume, hitting with a Psybeam, but getting paralysed in the process. Another Psybeam took it out, and with that, all that was left was the Gengar, which could be a big problem considering it has Destiny Bond. I kept Hypnotic in, used a full Restore, and then hit with a Psybeam. This put the Gengar to about 1/3 health, which is dangerous because now it's in Destiny Bond range. To get around this, I switched in Don to put it to sleep. Sure enough, it Destiny Bonded. I then used Sunny Day Solar Beam to take it out. With that, the E4 was defeated. All that was left was the champion, our biggest obstacle yet, and we're 2 Pokemon down. We healed up the team, used rare candies to level them all up to level 50, equal with Lance's strongest Dragonite, of 3, and challenged the champion, who opened with Gyarados. We opened with Jolt, and used Choice Spec boosted Ice Beams to start whittling down the Gyarados. After trading some blows and some heals, it was finally taken out. Lance was about to send out Dragonite, and because I didn't know which one it was, and one carries Thunder Punch, I switched to Delight. Ice Beam is 4 times effective, and 2 managed to take it out. 1 Dragonite down, 2 to go. Lance sent out another Dragonite, so I sent out Jolt to OHKO with another Ice Beam, this time Choice Spec boosted. Next up was the Aerodactyl. So I switched into Light and used this opportunity to heal up the team a bit. Then took it out with a Surf. Lance sent out his last Dragonite, which is a concern because it had to be OHKO'd by Jolt. The entire run came down to this, and it just survived, but froze!
Hey, that's pretty good.
Its Citrus Berry kicked in, and it was taken out with another Ice Beam. Whew. Lance was down to his last Pokemon, a Charizard, so I had to switch into Light to break the choice specs. After trading more blows and heals, I'd run out of Surf PP, and Delight was struggling. Uh-oh, just 9 health left. I had to switch into Jolt and hope that it didn't crit. That last Surf took it out. That was it. We were the champion. In retrospect, we might have been able to use Hypnotic and Don as switch fodder to cut down on the healing, but it was over. This is the first successful Nuzlocke I'd completed on stream, and it was a mono-type run too. I salute you, my brave warriors, and all my fallen soldiers. Over 55 in-game hours and 15 fatalities. I hope you enjoyed the video. I know I enjoyed making it, and if so, please consider liking and subscribing, as more challenges are on the way. If you think of anything I could improve on, or you have something to add like tips and tricks, please leave a comment down below. And as always, thanks for watching.